Hi everyone, #1 Marmaduke fan here, and I'm looking at Amalgam Comics Assassin #1. So I think your boy Zach has talked about Amalgam a little bit. There've been a few memes about it, but what Amalgam was someone had the bright idea of what if we mix up Marvel and DC characters and just give them their own universe, which is about as cool a cool sounding idea as possible, but in execution it just ends up kind of being ridiculous, but almost charmingly ridiculous in its own way. So half of the fun of Assassins is trying to figure out what the heck the amalgam is supposed to be and which characters they're supposed to represent. So your best clue usually is they make some pun out of the original character's name, and they kind of rib you right in the elbows and say, yeah, like that guy, right? So the game is, the review is, this is ridiculous. It's kind of fun despite its ridiculousness. I don't know, maybe they're everything is good, even if something is bad and I think it's kind of ridiculous. I enjoyed myself. It was a solid little adventure book, had kind of a neat little point to it. But then immediately this gets you thinking, well, how do you create amalgam characters without them getting this ridiculous? How do you combine different visual aspects of characters into a new character without it just being this person plus this person? Sometimes the amalgams, I don't get the reason why the amalgam is the one they chose, but immediately that gets you thinking about other possibilities for amalgams. And maybe if you don't like this amalgam, you come up with your own, and boom, you got an original character. So with that, it opens with Cat's Eye and Dare, and Cat's Eye is stabbing Deadeye through the chest, just like how Bullseye stabbed Elektra through the chest. So I don't quite get it, but Dare is the Daredevil plus Deathstroke the Terminator as a girl. So she's blind, but she lost an eye. She lost one of the eyes that were already blind. And Cat's Eye is Elektra plus Catwoman. I don't get it. Now, I guess that the idea is, Elektra is like the love interest for Daredevil, and Catwoman's like the love interest for Batman, but what does Deathstroke have to do with Catwoman? And Deathstroke and Daredevil are both guys, so why is she a girl? I don't quite get it. But whatever, I kind of like the fan service. If you know what this is, it's great fan service. And then she says, tell me you hadn't dreamed of hitting the bullseye before. Womp, womp, womp. And his name is what he is. Lethal, wild cheetah, wilder hunter. Counting on craven fear to weaken his prey. Am I right? Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. And so they fight Craven, and then, there's some cheesecakey shots. It gets so cheesecakey, it's painful. And Dare delivers the death stroke. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, but there's actually a point to some of this. So, Dare is based on Daredevil, who's a hero. She doesn't like when Cat's Eye, who's Elektra Catwoman, kills people. But then Dare is willing to kill people in self-defense. So there's this argument between the two of them that, aren't you being a bit of a hypocrite, Dare? Okay, now, Jimmy Ulrich. I know that's Jimmy Olsen. Help me out, Marvel fans. Who the heck would Ulrich be, who's a newscaster? And there's Dr. Strange Fate, who's Dr. Strange, and he's Dr. Fate. I hate some of these. So it's big question. He's the Kingpin with a big question mark on his face because he's also the Riddler. I guess they're both intellectual villains, but the Riddler's a villain with a gimmick. The Kingpin's kind of a quiet, he's a big, goofy-looking Jack Kirby design, but he's always kind of threatening and quiet and behind the scenes. So I don't know if those two things go together. This was nice. They mentioned political correctness, so they built a giant tower over Arkham Asylum. It was deemed politically correct for the psychologically different to interact with day-to-day society, and it was altogether cheaper than building them a new cage. Comic books were always SJW, am I right? That was great. So it comes out that Dare was experimented on. Wait, her name's Dare because she's not Daredevil, but she's got the devil horns, so why isn't her name Daredevil? I don't know, Dare's an okay-ish name. I don't get this one. So this is Nathan Chase, better known or worse as Wired, a manhunter built out of flesh and machine, strung together with cybernetic cable. Okay, so I know that Nathan Summers is Cable, but who would Chase be in the DC universe, who's got like these big like spiky protrusions coming out of him? I tried to like Google DC characters named Chase. I tried to Google DC characters named Wired. I got no clue. It's a big mystery. Was that the last like womp 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 pun moment? So they get up there and they have their fight, and the Kingpin's super duper strong. It's not the Kingpin. He's the big question. He's totally different. And there's a sweet little thing where Cat's Eye, who's kind of like coded the darker of the two characters because she thinks Dare is dead. She doesn't kill Big Question because that's not what Dare would like. And then it kind of leaves off with, wow, is Dare really dead? What could have happened? All right. So it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but I kind of love it. This is getting given away. You know, I guess the thing this prompts is, how would you do it different? Like, the idea of Batman with Wolverine claws is kind of cool when you think about it, but maybe not necessarily cool in execution. So actually, my approach would be character archetype, less so than just superficial differences. I'd think, okay, Spider-Man has this really tragic death story in his childhood that motivates him. Batman has this really tragic death story in his childhood that motivates him. They have a common motivating factor. What if we change the circumstances of the death so that kind of maybe like Bruce Wayne lost both his parents, but in a way that makes him feel the moral burden of responsibility that Peter Parker does. Maybe Bruce didn't lose his parents until he was an older man or something, right? Something like that. Or if combining like visual traits, I'd want to kind of like simplify them down to like the most basic. So Deathstroke the Terminator, he's got one eye covered in black and one side covered in orange where you can see his eye. Daredevil used to wear that yellow suit, but now he wears like a straight red suit with a couple devil horns. He's got a couple sticks. This isn't too bad, actually. She's a pretty simple character. Like, it's Cat's Eye where I get a little lost. She's kind of got the electric hair and a weird giant cat helmet and her sai, and like the cool little ribbon things right over her butt for the great cheesecake shots. I don't know. So even though I don't hate it, I don't love it, it's interesting. That's what I'll say. Number one Marmaduke fan, we don't need no stinking 10-minute videos. It's to the library you go. Love you. Catch you later.